Hello and welcome to part 11. So now that we're all done with the boiler rooms, we're going to be moving on to the reciprocating engine. Well done for getting this far. I know that those boiler rooms got a bit repetitive after a while, but they needed doing and now they're all done. There's a lot of detail in this room, so take breaks if you need it. You know, if you've not got a lot of patience today, maybe come back to this video another time. There's no harm in taking breaks. Fortunately, I am feeling so much better than I did a few days ago. I was really ill last week, so it's actually delayed me getting on with editing this video. So I'm hoping to still get it out on time. I'm hoping to keep it in one part, but we'll see. Now it's entirely up to you what colour you make these engine reciprocators. Just whatever block that you do choose, make sure there's a stair block available for it as well, because you're going to need those. And then if you just look at what I've got in my hotbar already, if you could just dig out similar blocks to them as well, because you'll need those. And then we can get on with it. So let's make a start. So me and Will did this just as a visual reference for ourselves to help us out. I know that they're a strange colour, but we wanted the different block types to stand out really well. This will be removed a little further on in the video, so just ignore that for now. What you're going to be concentrating on here is where we've placed the blue blocks. We're going to be placing those. They're going to be the feet of the reciprocating engines. So what you're going to want to do is come to your doorway that leads from your last boiler room and go all the way to the left up to the wall, and then count 5 blocks, and then on your 4th block out in front of that you just want to do 3, and then a 6 block gap. I think it's on the 6th block you place 6 like this. So 5 gap, and on the 6th block do the same thing. Place 6 blocks down. 5 block gap, do the same thing on the 6th block. Five block gap, and then you're going to do a single row there. That's the first layer done. So come back to your first one that you did, and you're going to count 8 blocks. Then on the 9th block, do a single row of 3. Then a 5 block gap, and then you're going to do 6. Then a 5 block gap again. Then another 6. Five block gap. On the 6th block, you're going to do 6. Five block gap, and on the 6th block, do singles again. So directly in front of this last one that you did, you want a 12 block gap. And then on the 13th block, do 3 single blocks. Then you want a gap of 5 again, and on the 6th block do 6. I did have a lot of lag issues while I was doing this, I am sorry. So 5 blocks again, and then on the 6th block do your 6. And then it is a 5 block gap again, but obviously because we put this visual one in. There you can see the blue bit underneath. So it's 5 block gap and then it's 6 again, like you've been doing. And then another 5 block gap. And then you're going to do a single row of 3 there. Okay, so come back to the first one you did. It's going to be 8 blocks, and then on the 9th block do your single 3. 5 block gap again. On the 6th block do your 6. Five block gap and then 6. And then there's a 5 block gap again. You're going to do 6. And then a 5 block gap and your single. And that's the feet in. So you should have something that looks like that now. Minus the green monstrosity, of course. Right, so next we're going to be getting on with the side walls. We chose a dark block for this. It's entirely up to you. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your Titanic that you're doing. So it's your choice. But I'm pretty sure it had dark walls. So for now, we're just going to mark out where it's going, which is right against the wall, right against the red bit. But before we can build that all the way up, we need to get rid of the outline for G deck and E deck, because this is a very large room. It goes up a lot higher than any of the other ones that we've done. So we just need to take these out and then we can build the side walls up. And I've actually just realised I said E deck, I meant to say F deck. So it's the outline for G deck and F deck, because these engine reciprocators touch the bottom of E deck. So I just wanted to make sure I corrected that before anyone started taking any extra decks out. Because as you can see by the one that we've pre-built, it does go all the way up to just underneath E deck. It will literally be touching the deck. So I guess you could say that this is the last part that's got me worried about putting a tutorial in, because it's just, there's so much detail in there and I just really want to get it right for everybody. I was worried about the fireman's passage. That ended up actually not being too bad. I just hope this one goes as well, because there's not really anything else that I'm worried about, because the decks themselves, they're quite simple. They're just time consuming more than anything. I guess you could say maybe the grand staircase might be a little difficult, but I actually don't think so. I think that's probably going to be quite simple to do, really, especially compared to this. I actually think this is probably the hardest part, to be honest. That's in terms of building and for me actually doing a tutorial for. Me and Will did this together. He was sat next to me at the time. He was literally reading everything out to me. And I did have some lag issues which really got on my nerves. And you're probably going to see a little bit of that in the video. Just try your best to ignore it. Because there's nothing worse when you're trying to do something, show somebody something, and you get a ton of lag. And as I've said in previous videos, I actually think it might be my mouse as well. So maybe it might be a good idea to invest in a new one of those as well. But no, William did a fantastic job of talking me through this. For me to do this entirely on my own, I would have had to constantly be stopping, looking at notes and stuff like that, and it would have been impossible. So yeah, it did really well there. So that's your first wall in. You just need to do exactly the same on the other side. So this is like pretty much the only point in the video where I can freely say things, because after I've got this wall in, it's just like pure concentration mode. We'll be literally building the reciprocating engines after this. So I just want to take the time to say that, you know, if anybody gets stuck at any point in this video, please leave a comment and I will get back to you, because I would hate for someone to get this far and then get stuck because I've either not explained something properly or you haven't been able to see very well what I've done, because like I said, I did have lag issues. So definitely leave a comment, let me know how you're getting on, and if you're struggling, I'll do my best to help you out as well. Just remember to take your time with it. You know, there's absolutely no need to rush with it. And just pay attention to what I'm doing on screen, not just what I'm saying, because sometimes it's easier to watch what's happening rather than listen to it, because I might say something in a way that you'd be like, oh, I won't say it like that. But you get the gist from seeing it on screen. So definitely take your time with it and you'll get it done, no problem. So I'm just going to speed this last portion up, and then we can get on with the rest of it. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to build the legs up. So what you're going to want to do is get your stair block out and come to the first base that we did in the left corner, and you're just going to put your stairs all the way around. And what you're going to do, you're going to bring the middle blocks up by 2. Then you're going to go in 1 and bring it up by another 2. Then you're going to go in 1, bring it up by 2 more. Then you're going to do a diagonal up, and then just add 1 more layer. Moving on to the next one now. Put your stairs all the way around it. We're going to be doing the stairs all the way around every single one, just for future reference. So then you bring the middle blocks, the 6 in the middle, you bring them up by another 2. Then you bring it out 1 on this side, and out 1 on this side as well. And take both of those side bits up by another 2. And you're going to go in 1, bring that up by another 2. You're going to go out 1 here, and then bring that up by another 2 as well. So start with your stairs again. And the 6 blocks in the middle, bring them up by another 2. One on this side, and 1 on that side. Then bring them up by another 2. You go out 1 and up by another 2. Then out 1 here and up by another 2 again. Next one. So the middle blocks go up by another 2 blocks. One out on this side, 1 out on this side. Then bring those side pieces up by another 2. going to go in one and bring that up by another 2, and then out one and another 2 on top. Do your stairs around this one. The middle blocks go up by another 2. You go in one and up by 2, then in one and up by 2. And then to join these all in the middle, you do one above like that, and then bring that up by another 1, so it should be 2 blocks on top there. And you're just going to do the same on all of them. And it should look like that. If you need to pause it just to make sure you've got it right, feel free. But that's the first row done. So what we're going to do to finish the shape of those off, get your stairs and come to these blocks on the outside and just put some stairs on them like that. So on the 3 rows. The same on this side. And then make sure you come underneath. You want to place some upside down stairs there and there. Just rounds it off a little bit better. And you're going to do that all the way across. Just make sure you don't forget your underneath bits. This bit's pretty simple really. You put some there. It just rounds it off nicely, just makes it look a bit more finished. Don't forget your underneath. I hope you're still managing to follow along okay. Remember, like I said before, if you get stuck with anything at all, let me know and I will get back to you as soon as possible, which is usually fairly quickly. Just do this last bit now. And just on this side, and then we're done. So it should look like this, as before. Feel free to pause it, just to make sure you've done it all right. Okay, so we're basically going to repeat that all over again. So come to this first one here, closest to the door, and do your stairs around it again. Then you're going to raise the middle ones up by 2. Probably best to face the other one like that. And bring it in by 1, up 2 more, in 1, up by another 2, and then 1 on top like that, and then bring that up by an extra 1. And then we're going to do this one. Basically just repeating what we've just done. It's no different. You bring the middle ones up again by another 2. So 1 out there, and 1 out there. bring them up by another 2. In 1 and up by another 2, then out 1 there, up by another 2, onto the next one, and your middle blocks go up by another 2, one out and 1 out there, bring them up by another 2, out 1 and up by 2, and then you can do the middle block as well while you're here. Out 1, up by 2, and then moving on to the next one, do your stairs all the way around. The middle blocks go up by another 2, and 1 out there, and 1 out there. Bring those up by another 2, 1 out, and up by another 2. Then do your joining middle piece, and take that up by an extra 1 as well. Don't forget that. So 1 out, 2 up, then moving on to the last one. Bring those up by 2, 1 in, up by another 2, 1 in, and up by another 2, and then do your middle piece and put an extra layer on top of that. Will kept having to remind me about that, I kept forgetting. Just make sure you don't. And then we're going to do the stairs as well, just to make it a nicer shape. So it's on the first 3 bits on the outside, and then make sure you do your underneath as well. Upside down stairs there and there. And do the same here. It's pretty simple really. Once you've built the first one, you kind of know what you're doing at that point. But I won't cut anything out. I'll show you how to do all of them, don't worry. This is why I said it's probably sometimes easier to just watch what's going on rather than me trying to explain exactly where the stairs are going, because you can see where they're going really pretty easily. Nearly done with this row now. Do this last bit. And now now we're done with the second row. It should start looking like that now. Okay, so next you're going to grab your full block and you're going to join the tops from one to the other. So the top block there, just drag it all the way across to the next one. You're going to do that on all of them. Then next you're going to grab your stair piece and you're going to count 3 in on those sides there. So it's just the first 3 blocks on each one. You want to do upside down stairs. Should look like that. And do the same on the back. And then what we're going to do next, you've got your first 3 in already. You're going to add more so that it adds up to 7. I'll show you what I mean. So you've got 3 there already. Then you're going to do 4, 5, 6, 7. Miss the 8th block and then continue it on just like that. And you're going to do that on all of them. So you've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, miss the 8th block, and then carry it on there. Same again. Just the last bit now. And it should look something like that. So the bit that's closest to your door on the left, there should be 7 blocks upside down stairs, and then at the back should be 6. So just double check that you've got it right before you carry on. So what we're going to do next is get your full block out, and then what we're going to do on top of every single one of them, we're going to do one block up there, and you're going to do that all the way across, and that includes covering up the bit that we missed with the upside down stairs. You go over the top of that as well. So bring it all the way to the back. And then you're going to raise it up by another 4. And so basically what you're going to do is just make this as one big chunk of blocks. Now what I did here is I filled in the entire lot. And what you could do just to make it easier and quicker is just make it hollow. Like just do the side bits and the back and just raise it up by 4. Because I eventually do move on to doing that instead of filling the whole thing in. You could just make it hollow just to save a bit of time. That's basically all we're doing in this bit. And judging by the time in this video already, I am probably going to have to do it in 2 parts because I think we've round about just hit the half an hour mark. And we still have a hell of a lot to do. So fitting this into 1 part like I wanted doesn't look like it's going to happen. So it's looking like it's going to have to be 2 parts, I'm afraid. But I suppose it gives you a chance to do one portion of the room before moving on to the next. Because I might not get the videos uploaded back to back. I'm not sure yet. So it should look like that. So basically what you're going to do that on every single one. Now to save extra time in this video, I'm going to speed the last 3 up. So you know what you're doing, you're just making one big chunk. So you put your first layer of blocks on there, and then you just bring it up by an extra 4. And yeah, I'll be back with you in a second. I'll just speed these bits up. Okay, so now you should have that. Feel free to pause it just to check you've got it right. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our buttons, whichever colour you've decided to choose. And the block that's above the upside down stairs there, you're going to do it all the way around. So all the way at the front, the sides and the back. Okay, and then the third block up as well, so you should have 2 block gap between where your buttons are. You're just going to do that all the way around as well. And you're going to do that on all of them. So I guess I could save some more time again in the video by speeding it up. Same again, above the upside down steps. I hate working with buttons. 2 block gap, and then on the third one up. So I'll just speed this little bit up as well. Okay, so next, as soon as you've done that, grab your upside down stairs. Or should I say stairs? You're going to make them upside down. You're just going to do it along the sides of the top. Excuse me. Not the front or the back, just the sides. And you're going to do that on all of them. Yeah, I think unfortunately this is definitely going to have to be in 2 parts. Judging by how long it's taken us just to get this far in the first part. I mean, we've got to get the propeller running through it and everything yet. So we've still got quite a ways to go. So once you've done that on all of them, grab your full block. And then you're just going to go all the way around the top like this. And you're going to do that on all of them. So while I'm recording this, I keep looking over at the TV because William's currently in the turbine engine room mapping that out. So we'll be getting on with that shortly as well. He's actually doing quite a good job. He's definitely saving me a lot of time anyway, which is better because that means I can get the video out a lot sooner. So we're playing a bit of catch up because I was ill last week, so it's really set us behind, unfortunately. So as soon as you've done that, go to the first one that you did, and on the outside you can run upside down stairs all the way down, just like that. Then when you come to the inside, you're just going to do 5 here, and then have a 5 block gap, and then 4 on the end. You're just going to do that on all of them on the inside. Make sure you've got a 5 block gap. Same on this one. They are slowly coming together now. I mean, I've no idea. I don't think they looked exactly like this, but I think it's the closest we could get to it, really. We were happy with how they turned out anyway. And on the outside here, you can just run it all the way across. It should look like that. Just have 3 gaps in the middle. So next, what you're going to do is grab your full block, and on the end block here, the upside down stairs that you put in. And this is why I ended up having a few lag issues. It just wasn't playing very nice with me. I was starting to get very frustrated. So what you do is you bring that up by 3. Excuse me. And you're going to do that all the way around. So all the way at the front, the sides and the back. And that's as simple as this bit is. I suppose overall the whole thing's been a lot simpler than I remember it being. Building it was different. I was actually feeling quite stressed when we were building it because I had that pressure of getting it right. I do put a lot of pressure on myself to get it right. But doing this, like the voiceover and stuff like that, it's actually been quite easy. So hopefully you're finding it easy enough to follow and easy enough to build as well. Remember to just take your time with it. There's no rush. I think it is that at this point though I did start having those lag issues that I mentioned. Hopefully they're not as bad as I remember them being. Okay, so next, get your stairs, and just above the last upside down stairs that you did, you're going to do an upside down stairs above it and run it all the way around, like the front, the sides and the back. Make sure you connect the ones on the edges up as well. Might get a little tight at the back because of the wall, but just run it all the way down. Okay, and then you're going to put on top another layer of stairs. Just like that, and you're going to run that all the way around as well. Nice and simple. Okay, so once you've done that, come to the block right on the end, and you're going to go in by 7 steps. And then you're going to bring it round like this on the inside. Now this is where it gets really slow going. Might be easier if you placed blocks underneath first and then you can quickly get them put down. I didn't do that initially, and it took quite a while to get this bit done. So once you've done that, just put a block there so you can put some more stairs in on the inside. Like I said, it'd probably be easier and quicker if you put blocks underneath. It's not going to make any difference to the design. it's a bit of an empty space in there for the most part. So it really doesn't matter if you use blocks underneath. It'd make it go a lot quicker for you anyway. So you're just going to bring this all the way around as well. And then again. As you can see, we've nearly reached the top. We've nearly reached E deck now. That would pretty much have reached E deck. This is as high up as they're going to go now. So once you've done that, you just fill the middle bit in with a full block. And you're going to do that 3 more times. But it gets a little bit finicky at this point. So do that and then come inside and try to connect them up as best you can. I hate working with steps, I hate working with buttons, and I hate working with slabs. They're just horrible. Okay, so you don't want your first bit looking like that, you want it straightforward like that, so that there's actually a gap between the cylinders at the top. And you do it by 7 again, and just repeat the process over again. Hopefully you'll have a bit better luck than me at placing stuff down. So there's not going to be, I think, too much left on this video now, because we're getting like over 40 minutes now. This is definitely taking longer than I thought it was going to. I was hoping to fit the whole thing in one, but it's really not going to happen, unfortunately. Yeah, looks like I decided to make things easier for myself finally. So hopefully we'll speed stuff up in the video as well. You don't actually have to take the blocks out. If you decide to do what I've just done there, you don't even have to take the blocks out. It makes no difference to the design whatsoever. You can just leave them in. Or take them out. It's up to you. So, seeing as this video is going to be in 2 parts, I won't leave it too long before the second part comes out. I'm not going to leave it a week, so don't worry. Probably a day or 2 after this one goes on, I'll get the next bit out. So, for those of you that are following this already, like building this already as I'm putting these tutorials out, oh no, let me know in the comments section, like, what sort of texture packs are you using? Are you using mods? Have you changed anything that we've done? I'm curious to know. It's always nice to hear those things. So the comments section's been a little quiet lately. Especially Pac-Man. Pac-Man gives me good questions. I don't know where he's gone. So you need to come back. You give me things to talk about. So same again here. Very finicky steps. Let's make sure it's 7 long here. Stairs really are horrible to work with in Minecraft. Especially when you're having lag as well, which I was having at the time. I mean, look, I just cannot get that placed down at all. This is just horrible. Definitely place a block underneath, because you will make it a million times easier for yourself than what I've just done there. I really didn't make it easy for myself at all. Thank God I decided to use my brain. There we go. Like I said before, you don't have to take them out. It's fine. Probably if I'd used the block underneath, probably could have been done with this bit by now. I'll remember for future videos to try and make things a little easier for myself. Because it saves time for everybody then. We're nearly done now. Just think you've got all the fun of doing this again on the other side. No, but honestly, once you've got this room in, it's definitely worth it, because it's one of those that you just look at and it's like, wow. Like the detail that's in there and stuff, it's nice to look at. So the last one. Let's make sure that that first step is straightforward. This is definitely the most awkward part of the engine reciprocators. William seems to be doing okay with that turbine engine room. He's got most of it in now. He's not done bad at all. So hopefully the turbine engine room, excuse me, the turbine engine room will be easier to build than this one. I can't see it being more complicated, to be honest. Hope I don't start losing my voice again. Or maybe I've just been waffling on for too long in this video. We're nearly at the 50-minute mark. Finally. Okay, that's the tops done. You're starting to get there now. So the next thing you want to do is grab some iron bars. Then you're going to go all the way to the floor, and at the front it's the third block in. You want to just place a row down like that. It's the same all the way through. And then on the sides it's the second block in. Third block in on the back. And the second block in on the sides. And that's what they should look like for now. Okay, so next, grab a yellow block, then come to your doorway that leads from the boiler room, And then on the first block that you stood on, you're going to count 8. Don't put it on the 9th one like I've just done. Place that down on the 8th block. So you're going to want a dark wall piece on the 8th block. And then raise it up by 3. Then place your yellow block next to the top one there. And then just place your dark wall all the way around. And then just drag the yellow block from one side to the other. And then do your support all the way around. And that's that bit done. So from your first yellow block, you want to go 7 in. And place a wall piece there. And you want to circle that all the way around. And you want to do a grindstone on top. Make sure it's facing forward and not sideways. And then you're going to just want to place a fence on top of it as well. I know it's a wall, but I'll say fence just so there's no confusion. And that should fit nicely in that gap that we left there. So these ones are nice and simple. So there's just one more of those to do. So you just want a 1 block gap, and then you want to do it again. Circle it round. Grindstone on top. Make sure it's not facing that way. It needs to be facing forward, or else it just won't look right. Just like that. And connect it up to the gap. That's them two done with. Okay, and then you want a 1 block gap. Then you want to do 2 fence pieces on the side. And then connect it up underneath. And then up the other side. Don't encircle it fully like we did the other one. What you're going to want to do here is put 6 grindstones all the way across. And then you're going to want to place 5 fence pieces on top of that. No, I did 6 there, but it should be 5. So 5 pieces on top of your grindstones. Then what you're going to want to do is place 2 grindstones at the front and 2 at the back, and then put a fence piece in the middle. And then all you're going to do from that point is connect from this point all the way up to the top with your fence. That should be fitting through this gap very nicely like this. Hopefully yours is as well. You just connect that up to the roof at the top. And that's that one done. Should look like that. So what you're going to do, it's another 1 block gap, and then we're going to do the smaller ones again. So just circle it all the way around. Ground stone on top, make sure it's facing forward. And then just do the fence piece all the way up. Without throwing the fence piece. Should fit in that gap there. That's that one done. So there's a 1 block gap, and you do the same thing again. Ground stone on top. And then just connect your fence up to the top. Okay, now we're going to do another big one. So it's a 1 block gap. Then you do the 2 pieces on the side and connect it up underneath. Bring it up around the other side. And you're going to do 6 ground stones on top of that. Make sure they're facing forward. Excuse me. I think I was a bit too far away there. Yep. And then what you're going to do, you're going to place 5 fence pieces on top of those, all together. Then you're going to want to put 2 ground stones at the front and 2 at the back. Excuse me. And then the fence in the middle. And then you just connect it up to the top with your fence. And that's another one done. Okay, so moving on, 1 block gap, and encircle it round. Grounder on top, and then you're just going to connect that up with your fence piece. Again, then a 1 block gap, do the same thing again. Grounder on top, and then just connect it up with your fence piece. Then we're just going to do 1 more big one. So it's a 1 block gap, 2 fence pieces on the side, and just connect it underneath. And 6 ground stones on top. And 5 on top. Okay, and then 2 grindstones at the front, 2 at the back, and then the fence piece in the middle. And then you're just going to take that all the way up to the top. Okay, and then a 1 block gap, and we've just got 2 of the smaller ones left to do, and that's it. I'll circle it around. Grinder on top. And then just connect it up to the top with your fence. That was a serious bit of lag there. That was ridiculous. Okay, 1 more. So it's just a 1 block gap. And then circle it around. And I think this is pretty much where I'm going to have to leave this part because I've just gone over the hour mark, I think. Yep, I've gone over the hour mark. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to leave this part here, I think. And then do the next bits in the next video. Yep, so we'll wrap it up for this part at this point. I'll get the next one uploaded quickly as well. So hopefully you followed okay, and I will see you in part 2.